Hits for the pound.
Yeah, this is how we do it in the Central Coast, man. We got 40 ounces, Old English, rag tops, 6'4" Impalas, and bikini girls, man. This is how we do it on the West Coast. San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles. But don't forget about the Central Cali, man. Please don't forget about the Central Cali. Yeah, get 'em.
It's another sunny day in the state of California. Low rider palm trees and G's that put it on ya. This ain't a negative, we speaking ebonics. Rank talk, candy paint on D's with hydraulics. Baseball hat with the sticker on the brim. Don't let the sun blind your sight, cause things can get grim. But I'm not here to talk about banana clips and guns. We're going back to Cali and we're gonna have some fun. A West Coast domination.
And welcome back to Two-Face Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Tallulah, out here in Monterey County, also known to the world as the Salad Bowl, also known as the Salinas Valley. To the people in LA, we are north. To the people in San Francisco, we are south. Right smack in the middle, best of both worlds. Don't forget about the Central Cali. Anyway, folks, today we are going to talk about bad energy and disturbing demons. You know what? I think I've touched on this before on here, but you know, nonetheless, I'm here to talk about that, man. Because I had an in-depth conversation just a few days ago with a good friend of mine, and we were talking about evilness in people. You know, does it exist, and so on and so forth, right? He proceeded to tell me some things, and I really resonated with that. Like, I just kind of like, wow, like, I know where he was coming from with it. So, with that being said, guys, let's just get right into it, right? So, what happened was, we talked about the evilness in people and so on and so forth, right? So, there's a point in time where someone reaches a point in their life where they're like, you know what, man, everything's just, I'm not into this whole whatever negativity, whatnot, right? Or maybe that person just doesn't care. You know, it reaches a point, regardless of the matter, where you all reach a point where, like, you know what, man, I don't care about none of that stuff. You know, whatever the situation is. If people want to railroad you, people want to, you know, pretty much destroy your character, whatever the situation is, you tend to move on with life, because at the end of the day, you yourself, within yourself, know the truth. So therefore, there's no need to really try to defend something that's, you know, then and people trying to antagonize a certain characteristics of you, that a certain characteristic out of you that does not really exist in there. You know, it gets to the point where, you know, it's kind of like they just poke you in the head, like, does that bother you? No, that doesn't bother me at all. Like, you know, and eventually you get to that point. But if you know their demeanor and where they're coming from, they're trying to get you to that point. So it's really up to the individual to not let that happen, you know. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot. But sometimes, I mean, just to kind of just throw it out there, like, whatever. It really doesn't take a lot. It really does not take a lot. It's happened to me before. Take it from personal experience. Then again, we're all different. Not everyone's the same, right? But with that being said, guys, I've noticed times where, you know, I stopped going to places. I stopped hanging around with people. I stopped contacting people. I've cut people out, in a sense, due to the fact that you feel their energy. You know, you feel their energy. And there's just something off about it. But yeah, we're like, nah, you know, maybe I'm just tripping, man. I'm just, you know. No. But 9 out of 10, those feelings are real. And I'll tell you, because it's happened. It's happened. I've experienced that. Here's the other situation too, guys, and maybe some of you guys will not believe this, but again, I'm only speaking from my experiences. This is what I've seen personally. I've had on two separate occasions two different dogs. Right, somebody come by the house, friend of the family, uh, and the dog will growl at them when they don't growl at anybody else. You know, they're pretty good about it. You know, the one dog was pretty good about everything. She was just awesome. You know, she was a great dog. But she growled at somebody all the time. And I was like, hey, you know, knock it off. You know, knock it off. Like, you know, whatever. Like, I said, oh, it just takes a while to get used to you, you know. But as time went on, the dog never got used to that person. And every time that person showed up, every now and then, the dog would growl. Just didn't like him. Fast forward, same kind of dog. Dotsies, weenie dogs, right? Guy comes over. Different person, right? Different person, different dog. Years later. And the dog just growls at him, and, you know, he tries to touch him, and, you know, and usually he's not like that. And I'm like, hey, you know, hey, calm down, you know, you know, yelling at the dog, you know. And you start to think like, okay, man, well, man, my dog's tripping, you know. But again, just like before, the dog just never, ever let that go. Right? So fast forward on both of these two occasions. These two people that I talked about with these two different dogs, right? The first dog that I talked about with the situation, it's deceased. It's been years. The other one I still have. I ended up not being connected to those two people anymore. For reason being of disrespect. Their intentions within themselves towards me was in a bad place. Oh. You know, and I tried to overlook it. I really tried to overlook it. And the situation being that I now look and say to myself, these dogs, or these animals in general, can read bad energy before we can. And I take that as a warning from these animals, you know. I've gone to a friend's house and the dogs, and everything's all good. You know, the dogs run up to me, and, you know, I play with the dogs and so on and so forth, right? Because I don't believe in going into somebody's home. See, to me, that's sickening within itself. If I think less of, if I don't care of them, which is not rare, it's not common for me to do something like that, you know. But if I did feel something like that, if I felt less of, and I didn't really care for that person, why would I step foot in their home? Why would I even visit them, for that matter? But hey, I digress. Anyhow, that being said, I would go into I've been in places where I walk into a room and there's a bunch of people there, which I walk in with great intent. I walk in with great intent, with great vibes, with good feel. Hey, I'm gonna go see these people. I'm gonna go see, you know, say it's a gathering of some sort, right? I'm gonna go see my friends, my brothers, my sisters, whatever you want to call it, you know. But I end up leaving like, man, everybody acts like I'm there to eat all their food, drink all their beer, and take off with their women at the end of the night. It's like, it's just a bad energy, you know. One of the biggest things to me is, as well, is when, you shake hands with somebody, and they do this or whatever, it's like you look them in the eye, you know. That's very important. But I noticed that. I noticed the body language in people sometimes. I noticed their tone of voice, how the energy shifts in the room. And then they start to get angry, especially if they're drinking. Therefore, it becomes just a bad place. And again, I go there with good intent. I'm there for a good time. I'm there for a good vibe. I'm there to see friends. That's it. Bottom line. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? Yet the energy is shifted in the room. So as I had this conversation with this friend of mine, I drew the conclusion that what happens is the energy shifts because I'm not feeding into negativity. I'm just not going to feed into it. And that disrupts their demons when they try to antagonize. And it just eats them up alive. It eats them up alive. I could care less. And it disturbs them. So now they're not going to say something. They're going to attempt to do something. Right? Or continue to say something. And one bad apple ruins the bunch. Because then you got the other. It'd be like those of you who are Star Wars fans, perhaps. And if you're not, hey, I'll pray for you. Anyways. No, but seriously, those of you who are Star Wars fans understand the Jedi mind trick. It only, it doesn't work on the, it only works on the weak-minded, they say. Jabba the Hutt said that, So I believe that these energies, these bad energies, only works on the weak. And I know who the weak are in the room. I can see who's who. They're a complete different person when you see them by themselves. But when you see them in the whole bunch, their energy towards you is like they want to look down on you. They want to, it's just a bad thing. It's better sometimes. So they say, oh, you become a hermit or a loner or whatever. No, actually, I'm not. I'm not actually. I do have a very small circle of people that I could talk with and be comfortable with. I am in a relationship, and I can be, and I'm good like that. Just like I spoke on here before, in the event of me passing at some point, I'd rather have the people there that really mean something and are really, really in general real about it than to be fake. It's like people who show up to a service because they just want to make sure that that person's gone and they want to know what's in it for them. That's the situation. Like I spoke on here before, I'd rather pass alone than to deal with fake people around me, even in that moment in time. But anyhow, again, I digress. So therefore, I'm just saying that this is not a religious way of thinking, guys. But I will say this. There is good and there is evil. Unfortunately, what possesses some people is beyond me. It's sickening how you can be in somebody's home and be fake and really not care for them. I think that's sickening. There is a mental problem with those type of people. I'll say that. I'm not a doctor. I'm in no way, shape, or form able to diagnose anybody. This is my own personal opinion. You're sick. You're a sicko. You're just like anybody else that has those kind of issues. I'm saying it for myself. There's people that think you're gonna kiss their tail because they pass by with loud music, thinking you're gonna run outside and be like, hey, I'm not that guy. Those are the energies that you know, they seek that attention. They want that from you. And again, because they cannot obtain what you have. I'm not saying just myself. I'm saying those of us that are trying to be positive and are being positive about it. And these evil spirits cannot obtain what we have, but it's not within. It's not something we're taught. It's not something that we can control. This is just in our nature, and they cannot destroy that. So they seek other ways in a narcissistic kind of way to destroy your character, to lie, to just go in and say a bunch of different things and then put you in bad with somebody else. Perhaps you know one person, like I've stated on here, and I know I've stated this before, you know one person, that person's a good friend, but all of a sudden, you know, that person's kind of looking at you a little bit different now. Why? Because this person spilled venom into that person, right? But everything will come to a close at some point or another, right? When they figure it out, or when they, you know, whenever they, and if they don't, you know, God be with them, you know. But I will say this. If you cut people off and vow to never return to speak to them or to visit them, be it that you had a fallout, you make that promise within yourself, and I'm that kind of person. Then I do that, you know. But I will say this. If that happens and that person feels they're on top of the world at that point, like I don't need them, I don't need you, yada, 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 that's all good. It's all good. Right? But I do know one thing. When that knock on the door comes, or that phone call, that text message, or whatever it may be in the future, I don't know yet, you know. When that comes in, when that happens from that person, hey, how you doing? It's not because they reconciled anything. They perhaps reconciled it, but for the reason that they hit rock bottom. Not because, you know, you really mean any more to them. And maybe they learned that lesson. But it's up to you if you're going to let them back in. And that's really up to you, the individual. Me, myself, I can be cordial, but I can never let somebody back in that sense. And 9 times out of 10, for me, it's best that people move on. You know, and I've seen sickening views of things. I've seen sickening views of things, how people perhaps may seem like they have more than one individual, be it financial, be it materialistic, right? But their life is one big lie. It's a mess. So what do you do to the person who has less, but yet has more than you do? Right? This is what they do. They'll destroy that person. They'll get them. If that person's weak, that person will follow that. And then they end up in the same situation, if not maybe a little bit worse, or the same situation as a person that's life, that has everything, but their life is a mess. Try to follow me here, guys. Right? The person that has all the materialistic things, money, financial, whatever situation it is, right? But their life is a mess. Their life is one big lie. They will destroy the person who has maybe the lesser home, the lesser financial situation, but they have a stable home. They will destroy that piece just to make them even, because that person had what the lower person had. It, just metaphorically speaking, I don't believe in that, but the lower person had what this person that has everything could never obtain. So the thing about it is, let's put it this way. The person with everything is actually down here. And the person with less is over here, morally. So what this person does, manipulates this one, brings them down to their level. And now they're the same. And now the person with all the financial things, but their life is a lie, they're more content because they helped destroy the lesser one. They had more than they did. Because they can't stand that. And sometimes the person that had less doesn't even realize what happened. But again, those are things that we all have to deal with at some point or another. That's why I live by my own rules. I make my own decisions, and I stand on my own ground. If it's none of my business, I don't care. If so-and-so on any platform did this and did that, I don't care. It's none of my business. I worry about me. That's it. You know. Sorry if I felt, if it feels a little rambled on, guys. But bad energy is a bad thing. Seriously. It's in the name, guys. It's in the name. But it only works if you allow it to happen. Right? If you allow it to consume you, then it's a bad thing. If you continue to live your life like, hey, you know what? Hey, whatever, man. It's on them. I believe, my personal opinion, I believe you'll be okay. With that, this is Two Face Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Segura, signing out.
Yo, you know what it is, man. Peggy Vega Grindhouse. We back up in it, we back up in it. 30 plus years, nothing's changed. Two-Face, there is no such thing as father time. We aging like fine wine. It's so sweet and divine. And let us sterilate your mind. We timeless like the glass that you put us in the fine wine. Take a sip of percentage and ask me how you manage. It's always shining, it's burning up my chest to the core. So therefore I can't be ignored. But the Conan sword, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm the predator. My blood is turning Two-Face green. Check my temperature, you ready for the lecture? As I come with the stretcher. Knowledge is the key to everything, so watch your temper. When it comes to the storyteller, I am the treasure, I'm in the laboratory, so please call me Dexter. The music is my pleasure, for 30 years strong. It's Two-Face ghetto ballin' to the heart with golden arms and flyer. We the ravens up in the sky. We ain't gon' stop till I retire.
Just a song before I go, to whom it may concern. Haters shake the fist, suckers preaching me rolling. Why you so mad? Why you so serious? You in my rear view like the slow and delirious. Keep on mashing, getting plenty action. The home of the G's and pimps, I love it with a passion. Throw it up, it's California, where the sun lays to rest like every day. The home of the color rack, swap meets and bangers. Chuck Taylor's Lolos and them real dope slangers. This is reality, it's where I stay. Along the Pacific in the state of CA. Golden State, from Frisco to Compton and back to Central Cali where the party keeps rocking. It's a California state of mind, and you can't be mad, that's just how we ride. Golden State.